Good morning. In this video, we are going to see about the ulnar nerve, its course, relations, and its clinical importance. So, the introduction. Ulnar nerve is the terminal branch of the brachial plexus. As you all know, it is a continuation of medial cord of the brachial plexus, which arises from the anterior division of the lower trunk of the brachial plexus. Okay. The root value, as you all know, C8 and T1. The fibers of the ulnar nerve arises from the 8th cervical and the first thoracic nerve. So the root value of the ulnar nerve is C8 and T1. The coordinate to form the lower trunk of the brachial plexus. So from the course from the cord to the axilla, the ulnar nerve runs between the axillary artery and the vein of the axilla. Okay, then from the course from the axilla to the arm of the upper hand. Okay, from the axilla it enters the arm and stays between the brachial artery and the vein. Okay. So next the course which runs below is something like this. So it runs behind the medial epicondyle. Then this is your ulnar nerve passing through the Guyon's canal and supplying to the digits. And this means the little finger and this finger. Okay. So this explains the course from arm to the elbow. The nerve runs inferior and posterior to the medial epicondyle, the medial aspect of the humerus bone, and until it enters the cubital tunnel. This is going to be the, wait, I'll show you in the picture. This is the cubital tunnel. Then the arm throughout the course of the night runs superficially, innervates no any muscle. It's not going to innervate any muscle along the forearm region. Okay. The course from the elbow to forearm. At the elbow, the ulnar nerve lies in the groove, in the retrocondylar groove. Okay, it is formed by the medial epicondyle of humerus and the olecranon process of ulna. It is referred as the funny bone. Okay, this is called as also known as the funny bone. Okay, the ulnar nerve is trapped between this bone and the overlying skin at this point. It enters the forearm through a aponeurotic arcade. That is the cubital tunnel. Okay. So next we will see the bony aspects, how the nerve transmits without any muscle. Okay. So as you can see the ulnar nerve here. Ulnar nerve which comes along the medial cutaneous nerve of the arm. Okay. The ulnar nerve also supplies the flexor carpi ulnaris, flexor rigitorum profundus 3rd and 4th. This medial cutaneous nerve, it travels along the medial cutaneous nerve of the forearm and supplies to adductor, opponens and flexor digiti minimi muscles. Also to the 4th lumbricals, first dorsal interosseous, first palmar interosseous and the 3rd lumbricals. Motor, it supplies to the adductor pollicis and flexor pollicis brevis. Sensory nerve, it supplies to the dorsal cutaneous branch, palmar cutaneous branch. It is divided into two at the level of forearm. Okay, then it is the dorsal and the palmar cutaneous branch and the deep motor branch. Okay, there's superficial and terminal branches or its ulnar nerves, sensory branches. The supply of ulnar nerve in the forearm. Ulnar nerve enters the anterior compartment of forearm through two heads of flexor carpi ulnaris. It enters the anterior compartment in between the two heads of FCU, that is your flexor carpi ulnaris, runs along the side of ulnar bone. There it innervates the flexor carpi ulnaris, then the medial half of the flexor digitorum profundus 3rd and 4th FDP muscle. No further muscle is supplied by the ulnar nerve in the medial forearm until it enters the wrist joint through the Guyon's canal. So this is the dorsal cutaneous branches nerves sensory supply region, as you can see here. This is the area where the ulnar nerve is supplying. This is dorsal cutaneous nerve, and this part is exclusively for the ulnar nerve. Now this is palmar cutaneous branch. This is the little finger just above the first interphalangeal joint. It is exclusively for the ulnar nerve. The ulnar nerve digital branches supply to in this part, and the ulnar nerve palmar branch also supply in this part. Okay. the course from forearm to the wrist. The dorsal cutaneous innervation of the ulnar nerve. In the forearm, it runs distally to the ulnar artery, okay, and about to give the 5 to 8 centimeters proximal to wrist. The dorsal ulnar cutaneous sensory branch exits to supply the sensation to the dorsal medial hand and the dorsal little finger, okay. Dorsal medial hand and the dorsal little finger, as you know, as far as distally as the nail and the fourth digit. Okay, the palmar cutaneous innervation of the ulnar nerve. At the level of the ulnar styloid, the palmar cutaneous branch originates and supplies to the sensation to the proximal medial arm. As you all know, as we all see in the pictures, palmar cutaneous branch supply medial side. Okay, then the dorsal cutaneous in the posterior. That is going to be the anterior, and this is going to be the posterior. Okay. The ulnar nerve innervated muscles. The forearm, flexor carpi ulnar is the nerve root is going to be the C7, C8 and T1. The flexor digitorum profundus 3 and 4, C7 and C8. The thenar muscles are hypothenar muscles C8 and C1. Sorry, C8 and T1. The adductor pollicis are C8 and T1. The flexor pollicis brevis C8 and T1. The fingers, it supplies to the palmar intraosseous, dorsal intraosseous, both have same nerve root as C8 and T1. Then the third and fourth lumbricals, okay, that is also having the same nerve root, that is C8 and T1. Then the digiti minimi, 3 digiti minimi muscles are supplied here. AOF is a common mnemonic, okay, abductor digiti minimi, oppidans digiti minimi and flexor digiti minimi. All three will have same nerve root, that is going to be the C8 and T1. At the wrist, the ulnar nerve and the artery lie in the canal by the fusiform bone medially and the hook of hamate laterally. That is nothing but the Guyon's canal formation. Okay. In this region, the nerve divides into 2 superficial branches. One is the superficial branch. The one branch is called a superficial branch itself, and the other one is called as the deep motor branch. Okay. The clinical application of the ulnar nerve. The causes of injury of ulnar nerve is simply to its level, where the level of the injury is. Upper arm, it gets injured only through the structures like just median nerve and the brachial, brachial artery. Then the medial arm is relatively protected. It won't get that much easily injured. The distal arm of the elbow is through mainly due to the dislocation of the elbow joint and the supracondylar or the condylar fractures. Okay. The distal forearm and wrist most commonly injured. Number one is going to the gunshot injuries, then cut injuries, that is going to be lacerations. There might be fractures on the wrist and there might be wrist dislocations. This all can cause the injury to the ulnar nerve. So we will see about the formation of the Guyon's canal. So the Guyon's canal is like a small cave which is formed inside our body in the wrist majorly. It's like a small opening. The Guyon's canal floor is the transverse carpal ligament and also the flexor digitorum profundus. That is going to be the FDP muscle and the physiohamate, the physiohamate bone and the physiometacarpal ligament. Physiometacarpal ligament and the oppidans digiti minimi. Okay. The roof of the carpal ligament and the roof is formed by the palmar carpal ligament and the palmaris brevis, and distally passes to the ulnar and the hook of the hamate. Okay, there will be a tight fascia or a ligament. The causes might be like this. Okay, causes of this Guyon's canal cyst can be due to the tight ligament or a fascia. There might be neoplasms, there will be rheumatoid synovitis, there will be aneurysms, vascular thrombosis, anomalous muscles, then prolonged direct pressure during surgery. So as we all know, the superficial is considered to be the sensory branch which supplies to the distal fifth and the half of the fourth digit. It also supplies to the palmaris brevis muscle, a thin muscle beneath the skin which cannot be studied in electromyographically. The deep branch also gives off the motor innervation to the hand muscle. Okay, it travels down the ulna. The ulnar nerve enters the palm of the hand. The ulnar nerve and the artery passes via the superficial to the flexor retinaculum via the ulnar canal. Okay. So there is some important things you should know about this clinical relevance and its anatomy. There will be three things. We should know about what is Tardi's ulnar palsy, then two entrapment syndrome at the arcade of Struthers and the cubital tunnel. So Tardi's ulnar palsy is similar to the compression. It might be caused due to the malunited fracture of the lateral humeral epicondyle in children. Okay, the fracture of the medial humeral epicondyle. Okay, sorry for the mistake. And dislocation of the elbow and continuations. There might be very shallow ulnar groove, the hypoplasis of the humeral trochlea, and the recurrent subluxation or dislocation of the ulnar nerve. Entrapment syndromes. It can occur in the cubital tunnel level or the arcade of Struthers level. As you can see, there is a thick facial band that connects the medial head of the triceps to the intermuscular septum that crosses the ulnar nerve. Approximately 8 centimeters proximal to the medial epicondyle. Okay, at that level, this can be compressed. This lead to an entrapment syndrome. Okay, then this cubital tunnel syndrome. The fibrous sheet known as the Osborne ligament is laterally and the head of the flexor carpi ulnar is posteromedially. So on this level also the nerve can get compressed. So we will move to the anatomy. The ulnar nerve enters the Guyon's renal enters the wrist at the level of Guyon's canal. Proximally the pisiform bone, distally it's formed by the hook of hamate. The floor is formed by the transverse carpal ligament, hamate and the tricolateral bone or tricolaterous bone. The roof is closely formed by the inlet of thick band of the tissue at outlet. That is nothing but the physiohamate hiatus. At the hiatus, it divides into ulnar sensory branch and the deep palmar motor branch. So as you can see in this picture, one is the pisiform bone and another one is hook of hamate. It is a detailed image of how this nerve divides into 1 and 2. Okay, the entrapment of ulnar nerve at wrist can take place at several patterns. One is pure motor affecting only the deep palmar branch. Then this is the deep palmar branch and the pure motor affecting the deep palmar and the hypothenar motor branches. Okay, or the motor and the sensory proximal canal lesion. Okay. And rarely, that's going to be rarely, and pure sensory involving the sensory fibers of the volar and the fifth digit. That is the fingers. Okay. So we should also know about the ulnar paradox. So what is ulnar paradox? It is nothing but if the ulnar nerve lesion occurs more proximally or closer to the elbow, the flexor digitorum profundus muscle may also be denervated. As a result, the flexion of IP joint is weakened, which reduces a claw-like appearance of the hand. Okay, this is simply called as ulnar paradox. So the presentation will be like this: the weakness and the atrophy of the ulnar intrinsic muscles, then thenar and hypothenar muscle wasting can be seen. Benediction hand posture, former sign and Wartenberg's sign can be seen. That means your finger, you will be placing a small piece of paper in between two fingers. You will try to pull it away. That is going to be the Foreman sign. The sensory disturbance over the volar fifth and the medial fourth finger, and the dorsal the sensory disturbance will occur over the fifth volar and the medial fourth finger. Dorsal medial aspect is escaped. That is just part. Okay. So ulnar paradox, we will see about more of it. The ulnar paradox, the ulnar nerve innervates the ulnar medial half of the flexor digitorum profundus muscle. If the ulnar nerve lesion occurs more proximal, that is more closer to the elbow joint, the flexor digitorum muscle, the FDP muscle, we also can be denervated. As a result, the flexion of IP joint is weakened, which results in a claw-like appearance of the hand. Instead of the fourth and the fifth fingers are simply paralyzed and they are fully in extended position. Okay, this is called as ulnar paradox because one would normally expect more proximal and thus debilitating injury to result in more deformed appearance of the hand. Thank you for watching. For more updates, like, comment and share Physio Startup. Thank you.